How did I go from this to looking and feeling like I do now in just 1 year? I'm going to share with you the 3 secrets that I learned to get my life and my health back. And it may not be as hard as you think. Welcome to this channel, a new project based on a subject that is near and dear to my heart and has honestly been one of the best, most life-changing decisions I have ever made. My name's Chris. This is me about the time I started my health journey. Overweight, prone to grumpiness, and sick often. Fast forward to now. I feel great, I look good, and I have my health back. This video is about the journey to get to where I am now. The 3 secrets that I learned to be successful and what I would do differently if I were to start it all over again, which will hopefully benefit all of you. Let's dive right in. So to start out, let's talk about the way my health was when I got started. I was overweight and technically probably barely in the obese side of things when it comes to BMI. I had very high blood pressure. I wasn't technically diagnosed with hypertension, but I was pretty much there. I was grumpy a lot. I didn't notice it at the time, but other people around me, after I had lost weight, said, wow, you're so much happier and you're a lot less grumpy and prone to anger, which was very interesting to me because at the moment I didn't, at the time I didn't realize that I was like that. My entire lifestyle was unhealthy. I have a desk job at work and I did not exercise at all. And I ate a lot of really unhealthy foods. And my favorite pastime was to watch TV all night and crush an entire bag of Doritos. So all those things together just set the stage for just a really unhealthy individual. I came to the realization that if I didn't get this taken care of, that I was going to die young, and I was fearful that I wouldn't be around to see my kids grow up or meet my grandchildren. That's where I was in my headspace. I was afraid that I was going to die young. So the start of my journey really begins when I decided to get honest with my wife, and I was telling her and just kind of laid it out how I was feeling, how I really felt like I needed to get my weight in check and my health back. And that's really what it was all about. It wasn't necessarily about the weight side. It's just that I wanted to be healthy again, like I was when I was younger. My wife kind of took it from there. It was just something I mentioned to her. I mean, I was really honest. It was like one of those moments, one of those heavy moments. And then I just went right back to what I was doing. But she kind of started doing her own research, looking into different apps and programs that she thought would help me be successful in my journey to be healthy. She ended up choosing Noom as the vessel, if you will, for this journey of mine. And so she signed me up on New Year's Day 2024. That was not planned to be a New Year's resolution or anything. It just happened to be the day that she decided what app to use and convinced me to finally actually set up. That process of getting started on Noom, it's fairly lengthy. You have to answer a lot of questions. You're going through goals. It really makes you, I guess, commit almost at the time, which looking back, almost 2 years ago, it's crazy to think it's been that long. I think that was really, really awesome. It is a paid service. You do they set you up on a trial, and you can choose. I think at least at that point you could choose to appoint how much to pay. I did, I think, $20 to get started, and by that point I just kind of felt, well, I put my money in it, so I better just go all in and get my money's worth out of it. The full course was a lot more money than just the $20. But I'm one of those people as well. I put my money in it, so I might as well get my money's worth out of it. So Noom works by, it isn't just a calorie counter. Yes, that is a part of it, but you have these daily classes that you can either watch or listen to. I did them a lot during my lunch breaks where I would just listen, and it's, at least I call them classes. I don't know if they call them classes. They're courses, I guess is what Noom calls them, where it kind of delves into the psychology side of the weight loss. Which was fascinating, and it really helps you get to the bottom of why am I being the way that I am? Why am I what I need to change about myself. And then, but it also gives you really, really good, healthy tips and tricks for the types of foods to eat, what to cut out, what to add more of. And yeah, it was a really, really great tool. So you get that. It's also a calorie counter, like pretty much every other weight loss platform out there. And they break foods into 3 different categories. You have your green foods, you have your yellow foods, and you have your orange foods. And it's all based on calorie density. So how much of the actual food, like your portion versus how many calories are in there. So the lower calories is going to be your green foods. The ones that are a little bit more balanced are your yellow, which makes up most of your diet. And then the orange foods are the ones that are really calorie heavy, but don't have that much substance with them. So things you kind of want to cut out a little bit more, but you can still have some. And it gives you budgets for all of them. You can go over and you can kind of tailor it, start out by being really, really dogmatic, really pragmatic about it, where you're trying to stick to your budgets, but then as you go through it, you kind of learn that you can kind of, go a little bit over on your yellow. It's not that big of a deal, or hey, I got some extra orange here, but really it's just maintaining that calorie deficit and not being hungry all the time. That is important. And I never felt like in the process that I was hungry all the time. So when I got started on my journey, I was 260 pounds. Now let's get started with the 3 secrets to weight loss. Now, to be honest, none of these 3 secrets to weight loss are actually a secret. They're common sense. But sometimes you just need to hear them like this for them to really drill down and make sense to you. So you can use me as inspiration if you want. Secret number 1, diet. I needed to completely change my eating habits and especially my snacking habits. So that started with kicking out all. For me, it was salty snacks, so things like chips and crackers and stuff like that. Those are my fat foods. So I had to completely get rid of all of those and find other alternatives to those snacks. And with that comes changing your grocery store routines. Now, you got to spend a little bit more time finding, if you're having sandwiches for your lunch at work, look at those different types of breads. And Noom, using the app, will help you try to find breads that are better for you. And they're out there. They're some finding a bread that really works for you can be a challenge, but once you find it, you know where it's at. So changing those grocery store habits are really, really important. A big one for me, and maybe for you too, eat a real breakfast. So I was horrible about just like having a banana on my drive to work. Banana and coffee, that's my breakfast. And I'd have a normal lunch and like just a sandwich and maybe some vegetables with it. But then I would have a huge dinner. So basically I was taking my daily calories and I was backlogging them until the end. And so I would have a huge dinner, and then usually I'd have like an evening snack later. And so you just can't do that. You really need to even out your calorie intake throughout the day. So I was shooting for 3 meals and 2 snacks, because I am a snacker. So 3 meals with a decent amount of calories each that worked for me and with what my calorie allotment is. So it's going to be different for you. And then 2 smaller snacks. One, a couple hours after breakfast, a couple hours before lunch, 10, 11 o'clock. I typically have lunch around 1. So I have an 11 o'clock snack, and then I have around 4 o'clock snack then too. And they're strategically placed in the day to where I'm getting hungry, but I'll still, be hungry again for dinner. And same in the morning between breakfast and lunch. So, but those are usually smaller amount of calories in each of those snacks. And so you want to choose better things. So for me, my morning snack today is still an apple. I have an apple every single day. I started it in January 2024. I still do that today. I look forward to my daily apple. My afternoon snacks, I usually try to find something that has a little more protein in it. So I'll have some nuts, and you can get bags of nuts at Costco. I usually get the unsalted, and we'll talk about that a little bit here in the future of this video as to why I get the unsalted nuts. And we also, get some of those pretzel bites, stuff like that. When I was in my calorie deficit, I didn't have the pretzel bites then, but I do now as part of my kind of daily snack routine. So yeah, you want to spread those calories throughout the day. And then you need to learn your portioning, and that's part of all this. So during this journey, one of the most interesting things to me that I think it took a couple months, and then I realized, oh my gosh, your plate, your standard dinner plate, if you look at the inside ring, that's a perfect portion. Or your cereal bowl, that's like a perfect portion for me. Maybe not for everybody, but for me. So when you're getting 2, 3 of those, that's when you're overeating. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, these are the perfect portions for me where I can lose weight or now maintain my weight. And so learning the portioning for your body is absolutely crucial. Some of the snacking items that I did that helped me out, some of those what Numa called green foods, so low calorie density foods. Grapes are a great one. They're full of water, so foods that have a lot of water in them, they make you feel full, but they typically don't have a lot of calories in them. So grapes is a great snack. So that would be my evening snack. So I guess I technically have 3 snacks. So I still like to have an evening snack. I'm just really, really careful with it because you don't want to have a whole lot of food before you go to bed. But sometimes you get hungry after dinner. So grapes are a great alternative. Sometimes I'll have an orange, but I really suggest grapes. And the other thing that I would do too, just to kind of satisfy that kind of eating something urge, is I got into the habit of chewing gum. So if I was hungry, but I knew in my head that I didn't actually need to eat, I would pop some gum in my mouth and chew it. And that actually really, really helped. So that's another little hack that you could try. Another thing that really made a big difference for me was cutting sodium. I didn't do that right away, but I started stalling a lot. And then so that's something that is, and I've known this for a while, that is kind of the kicker for my body, is when I start cutting sodium, I start shedding weight. And not just water weight, because I think a lot of the foods that are sodium heavy are probably foods that you want to cut out anyway. So I would consider cutting sodium. You don't have to, but that really worked for me. And then changing your mindset. Food is fuel. Have that food is fuel mentality. You don't need it to feel better about yourself. You don't need it for any other reason except to fuel your body. Secret number 2 is exercise. You need to move your body. So you can't just rely on eating less to lose weight. It'll work to a point, but you gotta exercise. And especially because remember, losing weight isn't necessarily the most important part. It's getting your overall health back. Your body needs to move. Your body wants to move. So what I did to get started, and what I did for pretty much my whole weight loss journey, is I just went on daily walks, and I didn't miss hardly any days. I had walked every day, and I got to the point where I loved doing my daily walk, and I craved it. And it's a perfect weight loss exercise because it keeps you in that zone 1 or maybe zone 2 in terms of heart rate, and that's when you're burning a lot of fat. So it's like the perfect exercise. Now, I didn't know that when I was doing that. After about 6 months, my wife found that out, and I was like, hey, all right, I'm already doing it. So walking is a great way to do it, and you have to be consistent. If you can, do it every single day. I mean, if you start getting like your knees bothering you or your hip, and that happened to me, I had to take a few weeks off because I did something to my hip at one point about 6 months in, and I had to take a couple of weeks off of walking. And then I just, was extra careful about the diet at that point, so I didn't lose any of the progress that I was making. And that was a rough couple of weeks because remember, I got to the point where I was craving that walk. And you know what? I still, I'm almost 2 years after I started this, and I've been just maintaining my weight for the last year, and I still do walks pretty much every single day. I do them when I'm on my lunch break at work and on the weekend. I love going on walks. I take a kid with me, or I take my wife with me, or I'll go by myself. So be consistent. Rain, shine, or snow. It's great doing walks when it's nice out, it's summertime, or it's spring and the birds are chirping. But hey, I don't know where you live, but I live in the Pacific Northwest. We get all 4 seasons. So if it's raining, you know what? Still go. You're not going to melt. If it's snowing, unless it was like a lot of snow, like we just got 2 or 3, 4 feet overnight, I might not go that day because it might not be safe, because usually the sidewalks aren't clear yet and cars are sliding around. So that's different. But you might have to take a couple days off here and there. But walk all year round. My favorite walking shoes, I'll go ahead and put an affiliate link below of the ones I like to use. They're slip-ons, they're easy to get in, easy to get off, and they last a decent amount of time, especially for the miles I put on them. Consider getting thermals for those cold days when you're going to go out and get your exercise in. There's a lot of really great options for thermals. I will put some affiliate links down below for a couple of different thermals that I use, some that are more expensive and some that are less expensive depending upon your budget. So the other thing that I would suggest you do is consider starting to do actual workouts. So now, I already told you before, most of my weight loss journey, I was just walking. That's all I did. And then I started kind of stalling again about 10 or maybe 15 pounds from my actual goal weight. And so I realized at that point, I am going to need to do something a little bit different. I'm going to need to actually start exercising my body. And about at that time too is when I had started learning that when you're going through a major weight loss program, a lot of the weight that you're losing, it isn't just fat, you're losing muscle. And so you got to start rebuilding some of that muscle back. And so this is one of the things that I would do differently if I were to start it over, is I would do a workout routine from the get-go. I would do it starting day one. So, and you know what? I was not a workout person even when I was in shape, like in high school and did sports and stuff like that for a little while. I didn't do working out. And so I didn't join a gym or anything. That's not really my style. I did it at home. I want to do body weight stuff. So I would just start doing push-ups, sit-ups, and things of that nature, curls. I have some dumbbells, and I did body weight stuff. Now, when I started, I could only do like 1 or 2 push-ups. Honestly. I'm to the point now where if I went and did it, I could probably do 45, 50 in one go. So it's just slowly but surely, just be consistent. If I were to do it all over again, I would have started with the actual working out then. I did it to help me lose my last 10 to 15 pounds, and I did it, and it worked. And then I just never stopped, because when you're moving and you're exercising your body and you get into it, you start craving the exercise too, not just the walking, but the working out. You want to do it. Your mind shift changes where you become obsessed with doing hard things. And that's a really, really, really powerful tool to have under your tool belt. Be obsessed with doing hard things. After a couple weeks to a month, this will all just become like your normal routine. And I promise you, this will all pay off. Secret number 3 is patience. If you use Noom, listen to all your classes. Do it every day. Don't stop. There's lots of good stuff in there. Monotony is okay. You might get to the point like I did, especially when I was actively in my weight loss stage, where I pretty much ate the same breakfasts within reason and the same lunch every day, and I had a few variations of dinners, but monotony is okay. When you get to that food is fuel mindset, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's nice to go out and do something different, and if you use Noom, you have these things called treat days where you can, they're not cheat days, they're treat days, where you can go out and you can, the idea is you don't have to log your food, which can get really monotonous over time. About 8 or so months in, I was starting to get pretty over it, but you got to continue to do it. It's because it's helping, it's working. But these treat days are nice because you don't have to do that. But the idea is that you still practice healthy habits. You just don't use the app. So monotony is okay. You're learning the amount of calories, the amount of food that you need to keep your body sustained. And after you reach your weight loss goal, then you go into maintenance mode, and then the learning starts over a little bit. It's just a lot quicker of a process to learn because then you got to eat a little more. Do not get caught up in the social media game of oversharing your process. I see that time and time again where people in my friends group, they'll post, "Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that," and then before you know it, they're not doing it. They aren't keeping up with it. I really kept it. I really kept it to myself. This was a personal journey that I was on, and eventually the progress speaks for itself. And then even before I was done, everyone was like, "Okay, what are you doing?" And I would tell them, diet, exercise, patience. This is literally where I came up with these things. This is how you do it. Diet, exercise, patience. I kept it personal, and the weight will just start falling off. And one last thing on patience is a really great quote: stick to your plan, not your mood. These are literally the 3 things that I tell people when people ask me what I did to lose weight and be healthy. Diet, exercise, patience. Basic, yes, but very, very powerful. One thing I found that was interesting in this process while learning about my own body is that it goes to show how much we work against our bodies. Our bodies don't want to be overweight, so they work really, really hard to get rid of all this extra calories and fat and carbs that you're putting into it. And if you just allow your body to do what it wants to do, you'll lose it naturally. It was just fascinating to watch that. This is just the first of many videos that I already have outlined on this subject. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button because your health is just too important. Go ahead and leave a comment if you have a health journey that you'd like to share, or if you're about to start one. Let's build a healthy community together. It all starts right here, right now. I'll see you in the next one.